Hello. It's Sunday.
This is so weird.
This is so weird.
I don't
y'all.
like this. I'm leaving. End the stream.
Oh no. Y'all, it's been 2 months. It's been 2 months.
Way too long.
Way too long. But we're back. I hope y'all missed us. I hope that you all enjoyed your break from the usual violence that we bring weekly to the comic book community.
Weekly violence.
Weekly violence. I want to thank everyone for
and
being
thanks
here.
for coming back.
Thank you for coming. I was so worried.
2 months, y'all could have just been like, yeah, fuck these girls. We're out. Like, they abandoned us. And, like, we would have been okay with that. But y'all showed up today. And y'all are nuts. And I'm excited. It's going to be like riding a bike, I hope. I really hope it's like riding a bike.
I hope so, too. I think it will be. Because you and I were just, like, talking backstage. And it felt so good. And then just to hear the intro music, that I was, like, pumped. My heart is racing, and I'm so happy to be here. I know that we planned on doing this hiatus just to like kind of take a break during the holidays.
Yeah, because I burnt the fuck out. Like, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I really, aside from what we're gonna talk about today, I did not read like any comics up until about a week ago. I was that burnt out. There was like 1 or 2 where I'm like, oh, this came out, and I do really want to know how it ends, so I'll read it. But for the most part, I played a lot of damn video games, a lot of Stardew Valley. I started playing The Last of Us again, and I just kind of let my brain turn to mush, and that's okay.
Oh, geez. My hiatus was not as fun. I'm currently going through the gosh darn stuff, and
but you're coming out on top.
I am coming out on top.
Coming out on top.
Because you know what I think what it was? I think our last stream, we jokingly talked about, I'm going to get on the dating apps just so I can be a menace to society. Anyways, I'm still not going to get on. Be
careful what you wish for.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to get on the dating apps. You will not find me there, but you can, anyways. So lots of life events happened to me, and I'm still here, and I'm so thankful to like the community that reached out to me and has just been like really nice in this trying time, because it's been kind of a rough couple months for me, but comics were there and the comic community was there. So thank y'all. I love y'all. If y'all are in the comments, if in the comments in the stream, I'm seeing some comments pop up. I'm going to say hi and howdy to
there's so many people,
everyone, I hope. But if you're here, I want to see that you're here, please, and thank you. So please drop a comment, because I'm about to say hi to y'all. First person, and I'm so glad it's her, my friend Sheena, our friend Sheena, one of the best.
I was about to fucking fight you for Sheena. Listen, if we ever get a divorce, I get Sheena in the custody agreements, okay?
Nah, I think we can find a way to, like, you know, we get Sheena on, like, I'll take Sheena on the weekends.
Alternative schedule.
Like, well, like, you get Thanksgiving, I get Christmas kind of deal.
Okay. Hopefully there will never be a divorce, so hopefully it'll never come to that point.
No. Sheena, we love you so much. Thank you for, like, you have personally reached out to me and like sent me like It's Always Sunny memes and clips, and I just thank you for offering me an egg in this trying time. So thank you, Sheena. You've never watched It's Always Sunny, so you probably have no clue what I'm talking about. I sound like a crazy person to you. I still love you. Okay. Super Stick Boy, glad you're back. We are back, and we're glad to be here too. Welcome back. Missed y'all. We missed you too. Rocco, hello. Thank you. John Stout, hello.
Howdy.
Our friend Scott, hello. I got a chance to hang out with Scott a couple weeks ago. We did like a little Portland comic book crawl. We went to a couple different shops, and it was a lot of fun. They also posted on their channel some like a haul video from that day, and they also went to Excalibur Comic Books here in Portland, who is also doing a really big sale this week. So I may, once the show is done today, I may pop over to Excalibur and see what hasn't been picked over.
Hell yeah.
So that may be my Sunday plans. The return. Yeah, we're excited. I don't think they are working today. I don't know what that's in reference to, but I'm working today. Hardly working harder, hardly working. Sorry. That comic girl, you. And then hello to Miss So. Hello. Let's see here. Oh, hello.
Look
Howdy.
at my mom on the howdy train.
Aw.
Boy, howdy, mama.
Boy, howdy. Another one of our friends, Sanimation. Hello, awesome queens. Welcome back. Our friend Puff Comics, Sean. Hello. Thank you for being here. Sheena said, I said, fuck these girls, but in a different way. Yeah. I saw Jen during the break, so I heard some violence. Yeah. I am not just like a show, okay? Like I don't just put on this act.
She's violent every day.
I am violent every fucking day of my life. I choose a little bit of violence. So thank you, Scott. I feel like I have street cred because you said that about me. Another one of our really good friends, Travis. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you, friend. Okay, I think we'll see. Oh, okay. Bo, hello. Clear out the rest of your stuff. So the only thing that can go bad is being crushed by an avalanche of unread books.
Oof.
Yeah,
there was definitely an avalanche.
There was. But we're really just going to talk about like maybe the last week or two.
We're going to talk about the books we want to talk about for
the ones we want to talk about. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
We always do, but on a different scale.
I hope I didn't miss anyone. Oh, hello. Howdy. Oregon, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you once again. I know that like you've reached out to me as well, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much. Aggressively relaxing. Hello, what's up, Sunday? Okay, I think I got everyone. Good morning. Hello. Happy Sunday. Thank you for being in the chat. As per usual, we're going to talk about comic book news. We're going to go over the comic book news from the last couple of months because there's actually been a lot.
There was so much shit that happened. It's like the week that we went on hiatus, a bomb dropped, like a literal bomb dropped. And I remember texting Jen and being like, should we come back from hiatus just to talk about this fucking bomb that's been dropped? But we decided to wait. So now we're going to talk about the bomb in the room.
So now it's just the after, what's it called? The fallout? The fallout. So let's talk about the fallout.
So Aftershock, a little big publisher that we read a lot on this show and we talk a lot on the show. And I personally have been a huge supporter of Aftershock from the beginning with their Days with Insects and Animosity and all of those fun books. Aftershock declared bankruptcy literal days after being accused of non-payments to creators and then issuing a very weird, cryptic, vague tweet that people didn't have to worry about the payments, that they would handle the payments accordingly.
It's like if you've been, if you were going to handle the payments, you would have handled the payments, my people.
And the whole bankruptcy is baffling to me on so many different levels. Because on one hand, it's a bankruptcy. So that's fucking insane to me. Then you see all of the official release statements regarding how much money they borrowed from these large shareholders and loan companies. And it's like,
it was a lot.
First of all, it's a comic book company. Okay. Don't get me wrong. Comics are great. I love comics. I too would dump an insane amount of money into the comic book community if I became a billionaire. But it's not like you're DC. It's not like you're Marvel. It's not like you're even Image. You're Aftershock.
Yeah.
And the amount of money was in the millions from multiple lenders. Not only that, but you have Aftershock, who is constantly making movie deals and using money to help solidify and cement those movie deals, yet has non-payments to creators. And hear me out. Aftershock, I feel like, has done more movie deals within the past 3 years or so. Like, they've announced, oh, this has been optioned. This book has been optioned. This book has been optioned. Yet, and I get that movies take a long time. There has been no progress on any of these movies. Nothing has come out. I remember they said it was like Youngblood or Written in Blood was picked
Yeah.
up by Norman Reedus's production company. You had We Live, which was probably one of the biggest books that Aftershock published.
I have
got
to say,
optioned.
We Live was probably, I think that We Live was one of the titles in 2020 that, like, I don't want to say it saved Aftershock.
It did.
But it really did. That was probably and comic shops as well, like people going in and like buying We Live, which was a really great story, month by month to read. And that was the thing that was so surprising about this, is that
we thought it was going to be a rebirth of Aftershock, and it felt like Aftershock kind of fell into this lull where it was like a lot of their books were starting to feel and look the same. And then you had a book like We Live, which was post-apocalyptic. It was colorful. It was musical. It had superheroes in it. It was just weird and bizarre, and it latched onto its audience. And again, we thought it was going to be the renaissance of Aftershock, but let's be honest, almost everything Aftershock has put out since has felt very, it looks the same. You throw a dart
watered down.
You could throw the pages up in the air of all of these books and mash them together, and you wouldn't be able to tell which is which. And that even goes for the We Live sequel, which is kind of insane. But I think the most insane thing about this entire Aftershock ordeal is the fact that in the documents that were released stating that they were going through bankruptcy, all of the names and addresses of the creators that were owed payments were pushed out onto the internet. Essentially, if you worked for Aftershock and Aftershock owed you money, you were publicly doxxed on Twitter. And that to me is the most fucked up part of everything.
That sucks, because there are certain groups within the comic book industry. I'm not going to name them because I just don't even want to invoke, I feel like, what we do in the shadows. I don't give a fuck. His name is Mike. I'm not going to say their name though, but there's certain groups in this industry who like go out of their way to dox people that they see as enemies, and a lot of those times those creators are queer creators or creators of color, and so like seeing that, it sucks. Unless, you know, maybe you want to dox them in a nice way. Is that a thing where you can just be like,
I don't think that's
I'm gonna be a grandma and send you an envelope with $3 in it, 3 single dollar bills.
I don't think that's how doxing
I'm gonna
works.
do that. I'm gonna get some ones out. I'm gonna find these envelopes or find these addresses and send little envelopes of grandma money. Be like, here's $3 for your birthday, creator who hasn't been paid by Aftershock.
But I really like this. I like this comment from Puff Comics that says, I feel too many creators are reaching for their comics getting optioned for TV and movies instead of just focusing on writing comics. And honestly, not a truer statement has ever been said, because as I said before, a lot of these stories that we're seeing, especially from Aftershock, but honestly, Image is starting to do the same thing. It feels like a lot of the same very standard, you know, internal drama, like solve a mystery, crime thriller who
in a world where this lonely guy is angry and needs revenge.
And it's just it's bizarre to me, because it's like, I miss when Aftershock took a chance on lesbians who turned into insects to get their revenge, or animals who talk in the apocalypse, or let's even go as far to say as a man who dresses up in a chicken suit and gets involved with the mafia. Like, you're still doing your
chicken devil.
You're still doing your standard crime thriller, Breaking Bad mob story, but the man's dressed as a chicken, and that to me is fun. And
that's what comics are about. Y'all
make comics fun again.
Ooh, I do, like, I agree with that statement. I'm gonna be a little bit of the, like, you know, devil's advocate here about that. Like, yes, I think that comic creators should be creating comics for just that. However, I know that getting paid to do comics isn't a lot of money. Even with all the speculation, even creators who get picked up, like their stories end up being the source material for like billion-dollar blockbuster Marvel DC films, still don't get paid. Like, they get paid more to be a a side character or like a background character than they do for like the work that they put into it. So I do see where some creators may be like, I'm going to get my big comic book deal off my indie comic book. And that's, I get it. Get your bag.
How many times has that happened? Let's be honest.
Not enough. And especially
maybe once, maybe twice. And even so, I wouldn't call them big blockbuster deals.
No.
The only one I can think of that even comes close is The Boys.
Yeah.
I mean, because we've had other smaller hits like The Old Guard and The Empty Man and Paper Girls, but again, nothing has swallowed success harder than The Boys. So that's what, 1 in 20, 1 in 10. You know, it feels like it feels like, I mean, whatever happened to, I have a really great story that I want to share with people and get it out there. We need to go back to that. I understand chasing your bag, but I feel like what we're being able to consume and the creativity that comes from that, I feel like it's failing. It's being held back.
Well, I know we didn't discuss this earlier, but hold on, it's not going to be what you think it's going to be. Speaking of things getting optioned and possibly becoming a movie, and no, it's not what you think, Sex Criminals and Bitch Planet.
Which is insane to me. So Sex Criminals and Bitch Planet were two books that really were starting to take Image by storm when I started finally not only reading comics, but when I finally started reading indie comics. Like, I came into Image and indie with Saga and Sex Crims and Rat Queens and Bitch Planet, and to me that's the golden age of Image.
East of West, Descender. Yeah, sorry. I love it. I love it. That's why this is all Image behind me.
That's the golden age of Image to me, and golden age of indie comics per se, because these were comics that were weird and fun and kind of dumb but really engaging. And I
have been chasing that high ever since. That like you said, that golden era, that 20,
and that was when trades were $9.99. Okay, I missed
rest
that
in
the
peace,
most.
$9.99 trades. So I'm really excited, but I'm also obviously Bitch Planet is one of my favorite books.
A big one.
I am also, I don't want it to get the Brian K. Vaughan treatment where Why the Last Man, Paper Girls, just they had so much potential, and not that they were necessarily bad, but they weren't great.
Mm-hmm.
We'll always have the source material, and I'm happy for that. But I need Bitch Planet to be good. I really need Bitch Planet to be good. I need
Sex Criminals to be good. See, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I love Sex Crims more than I loved Bitch Planet, and I don't know why. I just connected.
It was funner.
It was fun. The art was weird. You had that whole thing where Chip Zdarsky and Matt Fraction were talking to one another about, I have to do this really hard crisis in the middle of the story, but I don't know how to do it. Meanwhile, Chip Zdarsky's just like, yeah, dude, do whatever you want. He's drawing a bunch of dicks on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
I loved when that fourth breaking wall, just comic creators oozing through pages, the whole Fat Bottomed Girls fucking scene where our main character is singing Fat Bottom Girls in the middle of a bar, but they have to cover up all the lyrics because they go into how they tried to get the rights to the song, but they couldn't, and then they wanted to replace it with something else, but it didn't fit, and it was stupid, and it was silly, and it doesn't matter how many times I read these books, I still laugh like I did the very first time.
Yep, I agree. I do agree with Chaos in Comics. I hope Dick Fight Island gets optioned.
Oh my God, really Dick Fight Island would be so much fun.
Could you imagine the merch for Dick Fight Island?
There's just a laundry list of dirty, sexy comics that should be made into shit. There's a list.
Speaking of dirty, sexy, I'm just kidding. John, thank you for being here. John, we love you. I can't believe you're back, and my dumbass was 18 minutes late.
It's fine.
That's
our dumbasses are still talking about silly stuff for 18 minutes, so it's fine.
That's true. But I do want to say, speaking of dirty, sexy comics that did get optioned to be movies, I'm going to talk about it now.
No, you're not. We're saving that. We're coming to that. Patience, young grasshopper. Listen, y'all. we're going on a side tangent here because I wanted to talk about this. It's stupid and silly, but I want to talk about it. Last night, I got to live out one of my deepest, darkest desires. And that was that.
Okay, so this is the 18 plus portion of the show.
18 plus portion.
This
wait
is the
until
monster
you, wait
banging.
until you hear about the deepest, darkest desire that I got to fulfill last night. I got to see Empire Strikes Back in an old theater last night. And when I tell you that I got to live my dream, because I was there with my partner, my brother was there, my grandmother was there, and that to me is like a huge thing because my grandmother is the person that introduced me to Star Wars. So being able to watch Star Wars on a big screen with her was just satisfying and fulfilling. And then if we want to get into the really dirty, sexy parts, there was a bunch of like professional, like 501st Legion Star Wars cosplayers there, kind of just like doing fun meet and greets because it's Star Wars and it's a big event for our small town. And there was a person dressed as the Mandalorian who I desperately wanted to take home with me. So
and you did.
I definitely took home the Mandalorian. I wish. Listen, do you think I would be here if the Mandalorian was in my home? No. But
yeah, he's there.
It was really fun. I really want to talk about it because we saw A New Hope last month, and then next month they're showing Return of the Jedi. And listen, these are movies that I never thought I would get to see in theaters. So getting to see them, I'm really excited. But the reason why I brought that up is because I just hear Yoda in my head going, "Patience, young Skywalker." So patience, young Jennifer. We'll get to that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I thank you for being vulnerable about your deepest, darkest desires.
You're welcome. What else would I do?
Really quick, because I just want to shout them out. So Eman, a friend of the channel, I went ahead and posted a link to their YouTube. They are the ones that did our like intro. So if you haven't had a chance, please go and follow them. Please and thank you. Okay, go Mars. What's next?
More news, because like I said, it felt like while we were on a hiatus, shit just kept happening. Like are we the threads of the comic book universe keeping things together, and as soon as we leave, it all falls apart?
Yes. Which is why we can never leave.
We can never leave. We'll never do this again. So there have been tons of tech layoffs over the past couple of weeks. We've seen it with Microsoft, we've seen it with Google, we've seen it with Amazon. And more recently and more close to home, we saw it with Comixology.
Thank God I don't work in tech.
It was with Comixology. So it was reported that pretty much 3/4 of the Comixology staff was absolutely gutted and just let go. Which kind of leaves the future of Comixology, and by extension, digital comics, up in the air. And it's kind of insane because it feels like within the past couple years, digital comics has becoming the next big thing. A lot of people are moving away from the single issues and going more towards digital comics that they can carry with them on their phone or tablet and take wherever they go.
And the thing about Comixology is that, you know, Marvel has their own app, DC has their own app, but then with Comixology, like that's where you're going to get indie comic books. And that's where there's been, like recently over the last couple years, Comixology originals that will go ahead and do indie comic books first and then go ahead and print them out. So like, even though, you know, I don't necessarily want to give Amazon more money or anything, it is a way for like independent creators to do great stories and get them out digitally, and then maybe people like me who are like, I'm gonna wait until it comes out in trade or single issues. I need to hold it in my hand.
It's just insanity to me that, like, I feel like the comics market already gets blow after blow after blow, and it felt like this is the one thing that would kind of help sustain them, especially in our new modern era. A lot of people, unfortunately, are straying farther away from comic shops and are going more the bookstore and digital sales route. And I personally
don't do it.
I mean, I read a lot of digital comics now because it's just easier for me than going to a shop once a week, picking up books and kind of going from there. Don't get me wrong, I miss it, but it makes things a little easier. And it just kind of speaks to the importance of comics, and that comics aren't as important, unfortunately, as we see them as.
And every time I get into it, like if I take a lift or something, like sometimes I take a lift over to the comic shop and I'll be like, what are you doing today? I'm like, oh, I'm a fucking nerd. I'm going to the comic book shop today. They still make comics. Like I have that conversation at least like once or twice a week. And being in this world, like literally, like I go live and talk about comic books each
Like
fucking
this is
week.
part of our livelihood.
And I'm like, wait, how are there still people out there who like don't know that like comic books still come out each week? Like and anyways,
it's crazy, and it just kind of speaks to what is the future of digital comics. Are digital comics going to slowly go away, or are they going to continue to rise? Can Comixology restructure? I mean, we've been seeing this slow and unfortunately sad downfall of Comixology ever since it was included with Amazon, and Amazon kind of took control of it. They stripped away a lot of the accessibility features, a lot of the panel to panel reading, the fact that you could see all of your issues in one place. There's been nothing but problems since Amazon took over, and it just feels like this is another blow, and hopefully it can recover from it.
Yeah. I hope so too. I hope it's just part of an evolution. There was a lot of backlash against Comixology last year when they did take away like all those features, kind of like ground it up and watered down the platform, it feels like. And it just sucks that a corporation like Amazon and assholes like Jeff Bezos, who can clearly afford to keep something like that. So Jeff Bezos, I know you watch our show because every time I talk shit about you, you cut my internet off. I know you're watching, or someone you know is watching. And so I'm trying to say, let me run,
Jeffy.
Can I run Comixology? Let me run no, maybe not me, because I would just put a note that says go to your local shop.
In other news, because I feel like we need a little bit of positivity. It feels like our news has been kind of sad, and it's not the news that you're hoping for. We're saving that for last. We're gonna make you wait for it. So
tease me.
This is a very niche bit of news made specifically for me, but I want to talk about it because I have a platform, and that's what platforms are. So I would like to talk about it.
I know this one.
So it was announced this week. We don't really talk about manga a lot on this channel, which is weird because I feel like we both read manga enough to talk about it. Maybe not as much as some other people, but I feel like manga is an important part of comics that gets overshadowed, especially when we focus on Western comics. Same with, if people talk about manga, they kind of forget about Western comics. So I'm here to talk about both. And I'm very excited to announce that Ai Yazawa, who wrote my favorite manga of all time, Paradise Kiss, which if you have not read it yet, please read it. It is very inclusive, has trans characters, has bisexual characters, has some of the greatest fashion design you will ever see in fucking comics. Pretty much 30 years later is getting a fucking spin-off title called Neighborhood Story. And I am so... Listen, this news was made specifically for me, okay? I don't care. I am very happy. I did not ever expect to get a spin-off title of this book. Listen.
Can you show the cover of that?
I have multiple covers. Which one would you like to see? Geez. I have the original and I have the reprint. It's fine. To be fair, the originals go for an obscene amount of money, and I'm holding on to them specifically for nostalgia at this point. But 20 years later, and we're getting a sequel. And it's really, really important to talk about the importance of us getting a sequel because Ai Yazawa also wrote a very little, very big book called Nana, which has been unfinished since 2009 because it was reported that Ai Yazawa was hospitalized due to an undisclosed illness and kind of has been dealing with this illness ever since. And she kind of stepped away from manga, and it was led to believe that she would never create again. And the fans were very... I hate that feeling, but the fans were very understanding and understood that your personal health comes before a story that we love. And so the fact that she's returning for a Paradise Kiss story and not to finish Nana, I specifically feel very blessed. So I wanted to talk about that. I have a platform. Please read Paradise Kiss because it's very good.
So like you mentioned this to me and I'm like, okay, cool. What's Paradise Kiss? Here's what I have to say. My contribution to this conversation is I love how most manga titles are like, mid 2000s emo song titles. Like, it doesn't have anything, I mean, kind of, just has nothing to do with the actual, like, Paradise Kiss is.
So if I told you Paradise Kiss is actually very important,
Oh geez,
because
okay.
it's the name of the brand that they're working on.
Oh, okay.
So there is importance. Meanwhile, you have books like Dick Fight Island, which
like clearly
guess
doesn't have any
also has
dicks fighting on an
importance.
island. I'm just kidding. Dick Fight Island, I feel like there should be like a little counter. Like, how many times did we talk about Dick Fight Island?
A lot.
I love it so much.
It's
Please,
so good. It's so stupid.
please,
It's so good.
please go read Paradise Kiss, and then please read Dick Fight Island.
Perfect companion pieces. But that was my little self-indulgent news. Now back to the real news, in which we still make Jennifer wait for what she really wants to talk about. So before we get into the big boy, it was reported this week that DC Comics is reportedly paying creators less for event books. This came out recently in an article by Bleeding Cool, who I don't support, but I trust some of their sources, because they got a very reputable source. There were multiple creators that came out saying that they are not being paid properly for the event books that they are working on, and that some of these pay rates are actually being cut in half, which is absolutely insane to me. So the way event titles work, we talked a lot on this channel about how stupid.
What, for those, if I didn't know, what would you say is an event title?
An event is a reason for me to stop reading comics. So that's exactly what I'm gonna fucking tell you.
See, I feel like I say that I hate event comics, but there's a secret part of me where I'm like, I need to know what the fuck is going on.
It's a big mess that spreads into comic book titles that you may be reading and then forces you to read other titles, or you could stop reading the titles that you're really, really in love with for 2 months while the stupid event goes on, and you have to come back 2 months later and still not know what the hell's going on, and it sucks. But the way events used to work was events were really managed by an editorial team rather than a group of creators, and then those editors would delegate to writers and artists to kind of say, hey, this is what's going to happen in the event. This is what we need to happen.
Here's like where it all like ties in.
Yeah. Well, they would basically supply like the story beats and the plot points, and then creators would have to fill in the blanks. It's kind of changed within the past couple years with big events like Dark Metal and the Joker War, where books like the Dark Metal, DC Metal, and the Joker War. DC Metal was really head by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. Joker War was head by James Tynion, where these creators are the ones that are working alongside other creators and orchestrating the events, so that way it kind of feels a little bit more cohesive. And I will say, for the most part, I still hate events, but I agree, they have gotten a little bit more cohesive. The unfortunate downside is that these pay cuts apparently are going to the big orchestrators rather than to the people that are writing. So, not to say specifically, Scott Snyder or James Tynion got the extra money, but that's the way it would work in this scenario. And it's kind of fucked up, because here's my thing. If you're the creator on the receiving end of this extra pay bump, possibly knowing that the person that's working with you, I don't want to say for you, but working with you to help
with you,
the person that's working with you to help kind of magnetize this event is getting less money, wouldn't you say something?
Yeah.
Like, I would feel bad if I knew that, if I was writing an event and I knew that Brian Azzarello was being paid 50% less.
Oh, good for Brian Azzarello.
I would feel a little bit.
I would be okay. Bad. I just don't. I'd be like, Brian Azzarello, what are you contributing?
You see what I'm saying, though? I would feel a little bit bad, because it's like, I know you're putting in.
Would you feel bad? Brian Azzarello is a really bad example, because I know that you have a personal vendetta against Brian Azzarello. So, like, even though we're all for, like, pay comic creators more, you're like, there's a little asterisk there that's like, but fuck Brian
Okay, all right, let's switch up my example. That was a very bad example of me, but
that was a horrible example.
For some reason, that was the first name came to mind. I got one better for you. Hear me out. if Mark Millar was working on an event with me.
How is Mark Millar ever better? This is where we need. So, okay, I was thinking about this. We need a mod who can somehow do the little like editorial thing where it was like as seen on episode this. So like we bring up Mark Millar and it could be like
please see
as
episode
seen,
4, the fart smeller Millar episode.
and then you could like go back and reference and be like, oh, that's right, like she did accuse him of liking the smell of his own farts.
That's actually a good idea. I like
it is a good idea. We need a mod. Yeah, we'll pay you in exposure. See, now I'm sounding like DC.
Oh no. But yeah, so that news came out this week, and it just kind of, I wanted to talk about that because there was something else from DC which we'll now slowly transition to.
Hold on.
But I wanted to talk about that because I feel like this news that we're about to talk about very, very much overshadowed.
Okay, but give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Oh no, we're
maybe
talking
2.
about it without you.
No, 1 second.
She's gone, so I'm going to talk about it anyway. She can't stop me. So this is where I talk about it and possibly ruin Casually Comics forever. Thumbs up if I should do it. Thumbs down if you want to live in Casually Comics forever. I don't know. I'm being silly today. It's a silly, goofy mood. Where did she? Oh, I know exactly what she did. Okay, so anyway, DC Comics did kind of a big thing this week. They had their huge,
what did they do?
They did their huge. Can you chill for like 5 seconds?
No, I have not been chill an entire day in my life.
So DC Comics had their big press conference this week, which essentially mapped out the future of the DC movie and TV universe as we know it, with James Gunn at its head. And there was a lot of speculation about what was happening, what wasn't happening, what would get canned, what would stay, and we see the map to the universe.
We do. James Gunn laid it all out for us.
I'm pretty fucking impressed by the map to this universe. So I have to pull up my list because there's a lot of stuff to the point where I need a list. We'll start off with like the big one, which is kind of obvious. A lot of people are thankful for, but we are officially getting the Batman 2 with Robert Pattinson
in 2025. I will come back to this point.
And so I could really care less if we're getting another Batman because I don't.
I think that Batman movie.
I didn't care for it. I
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. I know for those of you who don't know, who like, I don't want to say we're Batman neutral because maybe we're not, but we could take or leave Batman at this point. I've been oversaturated. I've seen so many.
I say that, but let me finish our list because I'm about to just get really excited. So, in terms of movies, we're going to be getting Superman Legacy, which is supposed to follow Clark Kent after his powers have been established. So it's not an origin story. Thank God.
I think that it's going to be, I don't think that it's going to be that. I think that it's going to be Son of Kal-El. I think that it's going to be John Kent.
But they've already said it's going to be Clark.
I think there's going to be a John. There's going to be a John in there.
There might be a John at some point, but at this point, we haven't established Superman. It's really supposed to tell the story about him trying to balance both his life being a Kryptonian super god and the fact that he is Clark Kent, really bringing Superman back to what we expect Superman to be. So I'm excited for that. The Authority. So DC coming right out the fucking gate with gay representation, which I'm like,
Midnighter.
What's good?
I need to see Midnighter and Apollo smash on screen. I need to see some dick going into dick. Sorry, y'all.
It's fucking. I'm gonna be on. Authority is something, especially with the success of The Boys. The Authority is something that I've kind of been dying to see because for those of you that don't know what The Authority is, The Authority was kind of like, it wasn't necessarily an imprint. It was actually something entirely separate from DC before DC kind of absorbed it.
Like
but
it wasn't,
it was its own darker, mature superhero universe that still referenced things like Superman and Batman. So that's why you have characters like Apollo, who's clearly Superman, and Batman, who is clearly, or I'm sorry, Midnighter, who is clearly Batman. So it's really exciting to see that. What is probably my favorite announcement, but also the one that I am most curious about. The Brave and the Bold, which is supposed to be a focus on the Bat family. We're going to be seeing Batman with Damian Wayne and
every
how
picture that I have every picture that I have seen has shown like Batman with Damian Wayne, but I want it to be more than just that. Even though I love Damian, I love that little fuck. Like,
no, I need a Batman. Listen, we have not had a Batman movie with a Robin or some type of sidekick since Joe Schumacher in 1999, okay?
Yeah.
I need the Bat family. The Bat family has become so expansive and so large that it kind of feels like insanity that we haven't gotten a movie or even an animated TV show. I just fucking, oh my God, I love Damian so much, and I love that he's being brought to light. The only thing that I'm confused about this announcement is they're claiming, and this is something that I really love about this whole big announcement that James Gunn did, is he specifically stated what comics they would be taking inspiration from, to which 90% of these comics are now selling out at a distributor level. So
which is
Marvel,
crazy.
take note. Start fucking pushing the comics that your movie is inspired on, and you can see the same success. But
Agreed.
Back to Brave and the Bold, this whole Batman and Damian Wayne thing, they are citing Grant Morrison's run of Batman and Robin as their source material, which I got a lot of issues with that. So before I say anything, that's one of the few books by Grant Morrison I actually enjoy.
Yeah.
That being said,
I'm a Grant Morrison stan.
You are.
I love them.
I'm not. So for me to praise that book should say stuff on its own. That being said, that run of Batman and Robin is post Bruce Wayne dying, in which Dick Grayson is Batman. So clearly they've already said that it's going to be Bruce Wayne interacting with his newfound son that he never knew about. So then it makes me think, okay, well, maybe they're taking the campiness and the weirdness of the Grant Morrison run, because remember the Grant Morrison run introduced characters like Professor Pig, who's a fucking little weirdo that I love.
Yeah.
Introduced characters like the Flamingo, who's a fucking little weirdo that I absolutely love. And like everything about this run,
fucking weirdos on this channel.
Everything about this run drips camp. So I'm like, okay, if we're getting a campy Batman movie, I'll take it.
Give me Taika Waititi doing this movie.
That being said, Grant Morrison is also the one that made that ugly ass red-headed stepchild of Jason Todd, where they claimed that the reason why Jason hated Batman as much as he did is because Batman forced him to dye his hair black so he would look more like Dick Grayson, which to me is kind of on the verge of just creepiness. So don't do that.
I love that, like, out of all the things that you could be like,
I'm scared for Jason Todd, God damn it.
Out of all the things that you could be like, this is the creepy thing that Grant Morrison did in their books. I love that, like, that's the thing that you point out.
I came up with that in the middle of the night while cooking dinner. I was like,
this is what haunts us at night, y'all.
I was really excited because I'm like, oh, I get to Professor Pig, I get Flamingo. I was like, oh no, I get redheaded Jason Todd. Please help me no.
Two comments that I really just want to bring up. First of all, Ashtray from Euphoria should play Damian.
Wrong. Wrong. Damian Wayne needs to be Middle Eastern. It needs to be represented by a Middle Eastern cast. Sorry.
You're right. Okay.
Sorry.
I get that. I also want to bring up this comment because anytime I get to say fuck Warren Ellis,
I agree.
Warren Ellis.
Fuck Warren Ellis. But also,
this is a fuck Warren Ellis stan account.
This is a fuck Warren Ellis stan account, but also low key thank you for Midnighter.
Yeah, but then Steve Orlando took over.
So thank you, Steve Orlando, for Midnighter.
Thank you, Steve Orlando. You know, okay, but
so other movies that got announced, which are really, really huge. This one I'm surprised you're not actually talking about more, considering it was one of your favorite books last year. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which was written last year by Tom King and Bilquis Evely. First of all, this book is sold out at a distributor level. You can't fucking get your hands on this book. To which I say,
Good.
God damn
That's why you need to watch channels like ours, because we tell you what the good stuff is. Because I've been talking about Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and I've literally been like, y'all, I hate Tom King,
It's Red
but I'll
Sonja in
read
space.
this.
It's Red
It
Sonja
really
in space.
is, and it's like this incredible, like, let it be a space western. And Bilquis Evely's artwork is just, it's so good, so good. It's one of like the best Tom King books ever. And I'm just saying, y'all, if you want to know where the good stuff is, come to our show and watch, and then you would be like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and pick up
the future.
I'm going to pick up Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, because it's really good. And I hope they make it a lot more queer than just like the queer kind of subtext in it. But Tom King won't, because anyways.
It's fine. That being said, in mention of Tom King, it's also been announced that Tom King is actually going to become a huge part of this DC universe, because he's actually being brought on to write a lot of projects, which is good for me, but I guess bad for the rest of the world. That being said, Mr. Tom King, because I know you're listening, I have 2 words of advice for you, okay? Mr. Tom, we're friends. We're chill. Listen, I believed in you and nobody else. I believed in you and nobody else did, okay? I believed in you, and then a year later, you wrote Batman. 2 years later, you're doing all this shit. You're welcome. Anyway, my what's the word I'm looking for? My manifestations rubbed off on you. You're welcome.
It did.
So that being said, Tom, 2 things. A, make them gay, you cowards. I don't care who. I don't care who. I don't care what. Make them gay, you coward. Number 2, you have this power now. I believe you can do it.
Yeah.
Because Tom was originally working on a New Gods movie with Ava DuVernay. Bring back fucking New Gods.
I heard this announcement, and I know that, so like this whole thing, there's a lot of fanboys like that are just really, really mad at James Gunn because it means a reboot of the DC universe. And I think, like, whatever, let it be rebooted. It is what it is at this point. So a lot of them are really mad at James Gunn, and I'm like, no, this is what's needed. But it does mean that a lot of things are on the chopping block, which, whatever. If like a shitty
the Snyderverse needed to die.
Snyderverse, it really did. It's time to go. So the first thing I thought of was, does this mean that we could get anything like New Gods? Are we going to see Mr. Miracle, Big Barda, Granny Goodness? Are we gonna see
the weird characters nobody cares about but me?
Yeah.
And we are. And we'll get to that. Another movie that somebody's very excited for. You want to talk about it?
I do.
You want to talk about the movie?
I do want to talk about it. I've been waiting. Listen, y'all. I spent more money on this comic book than I have spent on anything in my goddamn life. And there's a part
I have the text messages to prove it, so if you would like to see, DM me.
You were basically, maybe don't do that, because you've got a lot of way other incriminating
I was part of the reason why that much money was spent.
Yeah. So there's a part of me where I was like, fuck, should I have spent that much money? And I'm like, yes, Swamp Thing is my bestest boy. I love him so much. He's the reason why I talk about monster fucking as much as I do. So like, anyways, I love Swamp Thing so much. I love Swamp Thing so much. And not only, you mentioned that we're going to get a Swamp Thing. I literally, like, that morning, I was getting ready for work when all of this was announced. I wasn't paying attention. And you messaged me. I literally got out of the shower and like checked my phone first thing, because that's what one does. And I literally got a text from you saying there's a Swamp Thing movie. And I was like, I literally have joy in my life again. I haven't had joy in my life for like 2 months. And I have joy again thinking about a Swamp Thing movie. I think I'm really excited. I don't even, my brain can't even comprehend casting, who would do it, anything like that. But I do. Excuse me. The person that needs to write the movie needs to be Rodney Barnes. Rodney Barnes has to be involved.
Barnes for Swamp Thing.
Rodney Barnes for Swamp Thing. I need Rodney Barnes to be writing this movie. Like, I don't get to manifest much, but that's what I'm manifesting. Rodney, I love you. I need you to write this movie for me. James Gunn, I need you to write this movie. Or James Gunn, I need you to let Rodney Barnes write this movie. He's done so many good television things. I know he can do it with movies. He needs to write my big bestest boy.
Well, I'm happy for you.
I'm also, because I'm a filthy little gremlin, I immediately was like, where's my Swamp Thing porn parody? If someone's got the if someone has like eyes on that, let the girl know.
My DMs are open.
My DMs are open. I love Swamp Thing. Sorry, I know basically all I can get out is just like, I love Swamp Thing, but he's such a good character. I love him so fucking much. My heart.
Well, movies aren't the only thing we're getting from DC, because along with their long list of movie title lineups, they also announced some TV shows, and I think that I might actually be more excited for these than I am for the movies.
What? Even Swamp Thing?
Even Swamp Thing. So for TV shows, right off the bat, we have Creature Commandos, which is supposed to be an animated series that follows a bunch of little fucking weirdos like Frankenstein, Agent of Shade, and the return of my favorite fucking character in movies, the Weasel.
The Weasel. That
Suicide Squad. Listen, please watch a Suicide Squad. Please appreciate all of that fucking filthy little creature's little screams. That is my son. That is my boy. I fucking love this dude so much. So I'm really excited. And I also think that these bigger studios getting more into animation, aside from just like, you know, the smaller animation universe, bringing them more into the fold of the mainstreamness, I think is really important. We also have Waller, which is supposed to replace Peacemaker season 2, for lack of a better word. And it's essentially going to be a continuation of Peacemaker season 2, but it's going to be more, which I'm really excited for. So we'll see returning characters like Amanda Waller's daughter. We'll see returning characters like Peacemaker. So I'm really excited because I love that Viola Davis is like the only person in the DC universe with a steady fucking paycheck.
Oh my God, right? She deserves it though.
She deserves it. They can't get rid of her, and I love that.
You know, I didn't know that that Waller was supposed to replace Peacemaker, and part of me was like, Peacemaker was so good, but I do think that what I love about that show is that Peacemaker becomes like a background character, but still like steals the show. And I mean, she does too. So I do appreciate that, like maybe she can come to the forefront a little bit more. Peacemaker can like dial it down.
Essentially, you're giving me a Suicide Squad show without telling me you're giving me a Suicide Squad show.
Yeah.
Because the thing is Amanda Waller is the infinite power of the DC universe. She has her hands in so many little fucking pockets that rather than making a million shows, making Suicide Squad, making, for lack of a better word, Secret Six or Hive or any of these other like little groups that she checkmates.
I want a Secret Six movie or a show.
I would love a Secret Six movie or show, but if I can get them into the Waller show, I'll happily take that. If I get more Waller, I am Amanda Waller's number one stan. Okay, I will really follow that woman until the day I die. Other things we're getting is Lanterns, which I'm excited because they just canceled the other Lantern show to replace it with a new Lantern show. So either way, the idea that the Lanterns are being pushed into a big budget TV is really great. I think it's going to work a lot better than if they were pushed into a movie, because it gives us more time to develop with the spectrum and how big it is. My only wish is please do not let Geoff Johns anywhere near this. I know he's going to be, but
no. I think James Gunn, I know you're watching. I know you're listening. Please, just Geoff Johns needs to go to timeout. Him and Brian Azzarello can just like, I don't know, circle jerk each other off into oblivion.
2 more shows. We have Booster Gold, which
Booster Gold is like a blind spot for me, and I think that's exciting. I still think it's exciting.
I saw this coming from like 4 miles away. I was like, it's James Gunn. James Gunn needs a little fucking weirdo to solidify his like mantle, okay?
Yeah.
And what better weirdo in the DC universe than Booster Gold? I hope this show is essentially like good guy Deadpool, where it's extremely meta, breaks the fourth wall, knows exactly what it's trying to be, and I just want the dumbest, funnest shit to enter my eyeballs.
Especially considering how like grim dark the DC universe has been for so long, and I appreciate the DC universe
I
for
need
that
fun.
reason. But I do need fun. I really do, and I think that could definitely be one that Taika Waititi does as well. I feel like he's always the one that I'm like, fun, entertaining
I
stuff.
just need fun with it.
Yeah.
And the last one, which is the one that I'm both most skeptical for and most excited for, is Paradise Lost. And Paradise Lost was described as essentially a giant HBO blockbuster,
Yeah.
akin to the political conflicts and serious nature of Game of Thrones. This scares
That's a
me.
heavy order.
That's a
That
heavy
is
order.
a lot of
Um,
weight to carry. I think that if it's done well, sure. Or are you just telling me it's that when in reality it's just going to be the Amazons go to the mall?
I think I believe that it will be a very big political grand scheme, wide open, just kind of harboring what the Amazons are, because the Amazons,
Yeah.
especially their culture, in recent years have really been solidified and developed. We've seen it specifically with books like Wonder Woman Hecate, or not Wonder Woman Hecate,
Historia.
Historia, Wonder Woman Historia. And I think that if they use that as their direct inspiration, I think that they're basically set up for life. I also like the idea of Paradise Lost because it allows for the introduction of other characters that aren't Diana. We can see more
Yeah.
Hippolyta. We can see Artemis. We can see Nubia. We
We
can
can see
see
Nubia,
we can see Yara Flor.
Yara
Like,
Flor, which we were promised a Yara Flor show. Do you think that like that could be in like the phase 2 of the James Gunn DC?
I don't know. I don't know, because here's the thing. I don't think that these are characters that could carry their own solo movie. I think that they need to be inner working characters akin to a Game of Thrones type thing, where we have all
Yeah.
these different tribes, we have all these different cultures and politics and rules. And I don't know. I think it could just be a lot of fun in an adult way that hopefully does not make me sit through any rape scenes like Game of Thrones did.
Yeah.
But I'm really hoping. I'm really thankful if it is. I mean, yeah, part of me would love to see more Wonder Woman, but I'm gonna be honest. For me personally, Wonder Woman is not the most interesting part of that lore. It's the Amazons themselves. It's
I
their,
agree. And
you
I
know,
think that if they could like lean into the like mythology aspect of it, I think that would be really cool. And that's where they're gonna get their like Game of Thrones political,
because here's the thing.
like backstabbing.
Wonder Woman does not have a villains gallery or a rogues gallery like Batman,
Ooh.
like Superman. She maybe has a couple that aren't always the most interesting. So I think if we were to even throw some of these characters into part of the Amazonian conflict and maybe we could introduce Diana maybe partway through it. Maybe we could do time skips like House of Dragon. I'm drawing it back to Game of Thrones again.
Don't you even dare say that. The time skips were the worst part of House of Dragons.
Wrong. They were the best. Anyway.
They were the fucking worst. We're gonna fight live.
We're gonna fight live on Casually Comics, Sunday
worst.
Violence. But yeah, those were the big news. That was the biggest part of the week, was that whole announcement spiel, because this has been a long time coming. DC has been in desperate need of this change. I don't want to say they're trying to play catch up to Marvel, but they are trying to play catch up to Marvel. And honestly, Marvel feels like it's slowly burning itself out. So this is the perfect time for DC to kind of fill its place and to kind of do the same formula while all the while doing something new.
I agree. I think that DC needs to they need to do what Marvel did, but they need to do it in a way that isn't just like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Like, I get that those are like the big heavy hitters, but Marvel's success came from
taking a chance on weird characters like Guardians of the
Galaxy, these crazy ass like B-list characters, C-list characters.
You mean D-list?
Oh my god, I was trying to.
Who knew what a Guardians of the Galaxy was before that movie? No one. Okay, maybe one. But for that one Guardians of the Galaxy fan in the chat who's like, well, I've been reading them since 1982. That one's for you, pal. But now it's time to do the thing that we do, I guess. And
What do we do?
I guess it's time to talk about comics.
It's comic talk time.
So this week is a little weird because as we stated at the beginning, we've been on a hiatus for about 2 months. So I don't know about Jen, but I have not been reading 2 months worth of comics, and I don't think I'm going to read the 2 months worth of comics. So I sat down this week and I picked and chose books that either were ones that I thought looked really cool and I really wanted to read, or maybe books that I have been reading that I'm like, oh, I actually do want to keep up with this one. So
yeah,
for
you're
me,
telling
at
me
least,
that you didn't read all, like, listen, I picked
I
up
didn't
20
read all 5 Aftershock #1s that feel exactly the same. That's
Oh my
exactly
God.
what I'm saying.
I pick up like 20 to 30 comic books each week. I didn't read that many. I never do. But that's like 200 comic books.
I have
I'm
13 books that I want to talk about, and
Okay.
one book that I would like to talk about that is not quite released yet, but I got some cool stuff for.
Okay. Let's go ahead. I don't even think that like we need to do, unless you want to, unless the chat wants us to, do the whole DC, Marvel.
Oh no,
indie.
I think we should just talk about books that we like.
We're just gonna raw dog it today.
We're gonna raw dog it. I'm gonna raw dog it.
Let's raw dog it, baby. Okay. What's good?
I want to talk about it. I missed it. It's so good. I want to talk about Scarlet Witch because I actually want physical comics for once in my life because I'm a Scarlet Witch stan.
Okay, I have to say,
it's fine. I know you don't like it. You hate me.
I did not like Scarlet Witch #1, but the way that I loved Scarlet Witch #2, tell me why I liked Scarlet Witch #2 a million times more.
Because sometimes first issues are rough and you have to give it more than one chance.
That's true.
Okay, so Scarlet Witch #1. I've been preaching for fucking months and years and whatever that, especially after the Trials of Magneto, we needed a Scarlet Witch solo, and we finally have it. It's written by Steve Orlando and Sarah Pichelli, whose artwork is fucking phenomenal, and I love the way that she draws Wanda. She actually draws her as if she's fucking Romani instead of every little white girl that she's ever been depicted as in comics before.
Yeah.
A+ on that. So
sorry. I want to show this off because you mentioned Sarah Pichelli's art. Can we just all give it up for fucking in issue 2 Dream Queen?
We were getting there. That's my new wife.
I literally I
gasped.
I opened this up and out of my mouth I was like, my wife.
I got, yeah, that's totally, I meant to text you about that. That's totally a you character. That is you. It is you. That's the character you're gonna cosplay as.
She's got green hair, y'all. My wife.
It's great.
I need this lady to step on me so bad, y'all.
So Scarlet Witch takes after the events of Trials of Magneto, where Wanda is now the Redeemer. She's slowly starting to forgive herself for all of her past transgressions and traumas and atrocities to mankind and mutant kind. But it's really a book about her loving herself. And so now she kind of has this like magic shop in the middle of like a small town, which I'm like, dream goals. I also would like to abandon my life to open a crystal fucking shop and help people and serve tea. And it's cool because she has like this door where people come through, and it's people that are going through their worst traumas and need help. And it's when you're at your lowest that the door finds you and brings you to Wanda. And this is interesting because this series also introduces a MCU character in her debut, and that is Darcy from WandaVision, played by Kat Dennings.
Okay, so I didn't hear her voice in issue 1 as much as I did in issue 2, but she's basically like the shopkeeper, like she's sweeping stuff up and like
she's her employee. It's great.
It's so adorable because you can hear the snarkiness. You can hear just like, you really hear, what's her name?
Kat Dennings.
Kat Dennings. You can hear Kat Dennings' voice in this, which I love.
But it's been revealed, and it was revealed in issue 1, that Darcy was the first one that came through a door. The door first appeared for Darcy. And I have a theory about that I'll talk about at the end. But the first issue is her dealing with a young queer woman and trying to come to terms with herself and her queerness, which I love. Wanda said gay rights, and trans rights and everything else.
And I just want to say, Steve Orlando is a queer
comic writer.
Queer comic writer. So it's really cool that it's not just some like character getting the like James. Well, I don't want to say what. Anyways.
But in issue 2, we get to see Viv, which was created during the Vision era, and that I saw that and I was like, this is interesting, because for those of you that don't know, Viv was a character created during the Vision series, in which Vision had a family. He had a wife, he had 2 children, but the wife was implanted with the memories and feelings of Wanda Maximoff. So essentially this robot woman was Wanda, but we get all this conflict between Viv and Wanda, where Viv is like, you weren't my mom. I understand that your brainwaves were in her, but you were not my mom.
And like, I think at one point she's like, don't, because she was, Wanda says something like, she was like my sister in a way. And Viv is like, don't even say that.
Go there.
Don't even go there. Don't even refer to my mother as your sister. Oh, that was some heavy.
It's a lot of like much anticipated conflict that I've been waiting to see happen, because it is such a big deal. And yet these characters have been on complete opposite ends of the spectrum. So this is the first time that we interact. So I've been really, really liking the series. I have a feeling that the series is going to pack a punch, because my theory about Darcy and the fact that she is the first one to find a door, and trigger warning for anybody listening, I believe that Darcy may or may not have tried to commit suicide, and maybe on the cusp of it, the door found her and she was brought to Wanda. That is my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, I definitely think this series is going to get dark. Like, not to say that it's not like already a little bit dark, because it deals with like some emotional, like, this is a heavy hitting issue.
I like this series because whereas the Scott Robinson run of Scarlet Witch, which we saw previously, and what a lot of WandaVision is based upon, that was more about Wanda going across the globe, and coming to terms with loving herself and forgiving herself. I think this series is Wanda has come to terms with that. She, has moments of doubt and disbelief, so she has to kind of fix those moments. But I think now this series is going to be about her helping others, whereas the previous was about her helping herself.
And she can do that now. So John asked, is it a mini or an ongoing? I think it's an ongoing, because it doesn't say one of whatever, but I wouldn't.
Unlike DC Comics, who is only doing 6-issue miniseries for everything, Marvel seems to want to give characters ongoing series, so I believe that it's an ongoing. So I loved it. I'm excited for the next issue. This was like the one book that I read in my 2-month hiatus, where the day that it was released, I was like, I'm gonna finally read a comic again.
And not only did you got those comics, but you also got a WandaVision like short box.
I did.
Not WandaVision, a Scarlet Witch short box.
I was in Connecticut a couple weeks ago visiting my partner's family, and I'll talk about more about that at the end of the show, but we did a huge comic shop tour, and books are falling. But we did a whole comic shop tour in which we were finding comics, and my whole goal was to get these physical copies because I needed them. And in a shop, I found this. And I screamed very loud and scared the shit out of my partner's father.
And you probably went, my wife, like I did when I saw Dream.
Everybody thinks that Wanda's my wife, my partner included. Yes. Wanda is not my wife, because
you are Wanda.
Wanda is me. We share the same trauma. So Wanda's not my wife, but I do love her, and I think she's very pretty. So I don't really do short boxes anymore because I have a giant metal
filing cabinet. Yeah.
But I mean, it's so fucking cute, and it looks so cute on my shelf that I had to buy it.
Are you going to put anything in it? Like, are you actually going to file comics in there?
I don't know. I have not decided. I might I'll put all my Wanda comics in it.
I was
There's
going to
a
say
lot
you
of
can
them.
put all of your wives in there. You can literally have a box
I would
full
need I would need 40 boxes. That's why there's a
you're like
filing
the
cabinet.
filing cabinet. True.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't have your list right in front of me, but I don't know if you read this one. But speaking of Marvel, Bloodline, Daughter of Blade.
No, I did not. I wanted to, and I completely forgot about it. How was it?
I loved this book. I
But is it
loved this
ongoing
book.
or is it just a one shot?
No, it's an ongoing, I think. Oh, don't tell me. No, it's ongoing. Yeah, because the way that it ends on like, oh God, hold on. Let me go to the, next. Yeah. To be continued. There is a to be continued.
Okay.
So this one was really, really good. It literally picks up with like a mom and a daughter, like talking. She's kind of having trouble in school. The reason why is because she can sense vampires, and it is just so, so good. Let me go ahead and pull this up. So Danny Lore is the writer. Karen S. Darboe is the Darboe is the artist. I feel like this is so underrated. Like I need more, maybe I need to talk about it more, and I just haven't been here to talk about it. But I loved this. I loved it so much.
And that came out, I think, just this week.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's new.
It's new. I need y'all to pick this up. This is one of those books, I know we talked about it earlier, where it's like, do we really need to be like writing comics with just the sole intent of it becoming a TV or movie property? This one immediately, I'm like, this needs to be a TV show. 100%. And I think that this would be a really great comic for if you have a teen in your life that you're like, I need to get them into comics. This would, to me, Bloodline is it manages to have a teen protagonist that even me as like a middle 30-year-old something can enjoy, but I think that it doesn't talk down to teenagers. Highly recommend it. Please pick it up.
Other books that came out. I'm just gonna kind of generally wrap it up because I think you've also been reading it. Lovesick comic. Lovesick from Luana Vecchio from Image Comics. I don't know what the fuck I'm reading half the time. I am both scared and horny over this book.
I constantly live in this like pendulum swing between scared and horny, and it's all blended together. It doesn't even go back and forth anymore. It's just it's the same feeling for me at this point.
It's really solid. It's really great. It's beautifully written. The art is gorgeous. And I will say, I'm really glad that it seems to be finding success because it feels like this is such a niche comic for a very, 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 very niche audience. That could be swept under the rug, and it's not, and it's being celebrated. And I don't know. I just want more dark, sexy comics like it. That's all I want.
It really is. It is so dark and sexy.
They could be less scary, but they could still be sex. Or less scary but more sexy.
Turn up the scary, and at the same time you are turning up the sexy. I would not be surprised if like Luana ended up coming out and saying, I literally put blood in the ink of this book, and like it's printed with my blood. Like this book,
except it's all digital. Womp womp.
No, when it's printed, like
I don't think that's possible.
I think it is possible. I wouldn't be surprised if there was blood in this book because it is just like, I don't know, man. I love this book so much. If you haven't heard me talk about it already, it basically follows Domino, who is a dominatrix who murders people in a red room situation, and they are literally like, I will die for you, queen.
Same.
I would die for Domino. And we do get to see these like because this is issue 4, so we do get to see. And did you see what the subtitle of this book is called?
probably, but I forget because I have a bad brain.
Oh no. The subtitle of this book is called, where is it? Dang it. Okay, it's not right here, but it's called Do the Monster Mash.
Nice.
So
there's
yes,
our Smash report.
Smash report. So anyways, this book, like, we get to see her origins, we get to see where she comes from, like, and this like emotional side of her to this, like, I don't know. I love her so much. I love her so much. I also want her job. Will someone pay me to murder them? Please.
I think that should be reserved for the other side of the internet. You didn't flick your switch?
No. Wait, is it? I don't know.
That's for the dark web, not for the light web.
Okay, sorry, y'all. I'll get back to the dark web crevices that I came from.
What other books did you read in your hiatus?
Another book that I read in my hiatus. I know you read this one too. It's Saga.
Oh my god. So, first of all, I was really convinced that Saga was never coming back.
It's so funny because it was announced to come back. They're like, oh, it's going to come back in like January, February. And we were like, no, it isn't. And so this particular issue, they went on hiatus. Sorry, let me go back. In 2018, they were like, sorry, y'all, Saga's going to go on a year-long hiatus.
And then a year turned to 2 years.
And then a year turned into 2 years. And then into the pandemic.
And 4. And 5. And we have 5 years without Saga.
God. No, we went 3.5 years without Saga.
Might as well have been 5.
You know, it came back. I honestly was underwhelmed by the return of Saga.
I agree.
Saga is one of the comics that's so important to me, but I didn't love it the way that I had like originally felt it. I feel like you could skip that entire arc that just came out and just pick it up from here.
I agree. And it was just it reminded me of why I love Saga. You know, the characters, the interactions. The Will isn't a disgusting piece of mess anymore. So that's kind of nice for me because I have a very sexual attraction to the Will. Thank you.
I have a very sexual attraction apparently to anyone who's a disgusting mess, like disgusting mess for a disgusting mess.
And I really liked this issue of Saga, and well, I don't want to spoil it. I mean, I guess I could. It's been more than a week. But this ends on a fucking bomb of a cliffhanger, like an absolute bomb that changes the fucking whole thing that Saga has led us to believe. And I don't know how I feel about it. I'm very scared.
I am telling you. So I have a theory about, through the whole first arc, I have a theory about what was going to happen. I think that there's going to be a return of a character who is dead. And then you said that the end of this issue proved my theory wrong. And I think that it's leading us astray. It's a red herring. And I think it's leading us astray. And I still think that my theory, I think there's going to be a return of a character. And I think that they're going to come back. I think that they're going to come back at probably the end of this arc.
It's possible. We'll have to hold out for it. Now give me all the issues to the arc so I can find out.
Yeah.
Saga's good again, y'all. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
That's good again. An end of a series happened that we both loved very, very much. And I'm very sad, but I also very much enjoyed it. And that was Minor Threats from our boy Patton Oswalt.
Patton Oswalt, I know you're watching because we love you. So I have a huge crush on you. And like, yeah.
I love Patton Oswalt so much. It's not even funny. And he's the only celebrity that can write comics at this point in time. I will not be further clarifying on that. But Minor Threats ended. And Minor Threats has essentially been a 4-issue miniseries that is a love fucking letter to Cape Comics. So it follows this group of like D-list villains who are trying to stop essentially their Batman, because their Batman is going on a murderous rampage and is blaming all the villains, but yet these little D-list villains are like, we're just like petty crooks with dumb gimmicks that are trying to make some money to support our families.
Yeah, we're just trying to make our ends meet.
We're trying to make our ends meet, and we don't do anything to harm anybody, but this Batman-esque character, you know, doesn't care. So they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to band together, and we're essentially going to kill your version of the Joker, which in this universe is called the Stickman. And it's been like this like whirlwind mystery, but also just like a traditional Cape comic that doesn't overbear you, because if you've read Cape comics, you understand the lore and you understand the jokes and the references. But even if you haven't read Cape comics, you can still really enjoy it without being overwhelmed. And I think it's just this cast of characters that they've brought together that kind of make it the story that it is. And issue 4 really solidifies that and hits home with a fucking bang of an ending that I didn't expect, but I'm like, I really like it. And then in the little corner, it says never the end. So Patton Oswalt, Minor Threats, Volume 2. Please, 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 please give me more Minor Threats. I will read a million issues.
I really I didn't get to read the last issue. I'll definitely be picking it up in trade when that comes out. But you're right. I feel like it's almost like the other side of the coin of a book like Black Hammer, that's like that love letter to Cape comics and superhero comics. And like for me, when I was getting into comic books, most of what was available were superhero comic books.
And it's still that way, unfortunately.
It is. There's a lot more indie to choose from, and like, you know, I liked these.
But in terms of what's mainstream, it's always been the Cape comics. It's always been Batman and Spider-Man and Superman, and you know. So I love books that are homages to the superheroes that we grew up with, that we're familiar with and that we love, but then kind of pull that 180 indie twist that really makes us remember why we love comics.
Yes. Speaking of, because that was published by Dark Horse. So speaking of a Dark Horse book, I don't know if you got a chance to read this one, Where Monsters Lie.
What do you mean, did I get a chance to read it? It's Kyle fucking Stark.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
so
loved this book.
Before we talk about it, I have to do what I always do. So this book is written by Kyle Starks, who last year wrote...
Did they do anything else, Mars?
So last year they wrote I Hate This Place, which we covered on this channel, published by Image Comics. It's a really great story, really great queer horror, which is fun. And also just got announced for a second arc, which is really exciting. But Kyle Starks wrote one of my favorite Image books of all time.
What?
Assassination.
You've never told me. I'm just kidding.
Shut up. It's a running gag on the show that every time Kyle Starks comes up in conversation with a new book or series, I have to fucking plead the case of Assassination, because apparently not enough of y'all are reading it. So I'm going to keep fucking talking about it until everybody has read it. It's a really fun little comedy story with the art of Erica Henderson, who did Squirrel Girl. And there's a character called Fuck Tarkington. I'm not going to be asking or taking any more questions. Go read the book. Send tweet.
I feel like Kyle Stark really upped the humor in this one. So Where Monsters Lie, like you see that and you're like, oh, this is going to be like a scary, like horror book. And it is the funniest shit.
You know what this book reminds me of? Ice Cream Man.
Thank you. Like not just the funniness, like the humor in it, but the artwork too reminds me of that like W. Maxwell Prince, is it Martin Morazzo? Definitely the artwork reminds me of Ice Cream Man. I know that you don't like Ice Cream Man, but it's one of
I do like Ice Cream Man. That's just one that I'm behind on, and I only trade read it. I liked Ice Cream Man. Don't put words in my mouth.
Okay, sorry. So anyways, this book is like about all of the crazy horror villains end up on this like farm.
I wouldn't even say horror villains. I would say like weirdo serial killers. It's not like anybody has like superpowers, but you have characters that obviously like mimic Jigsaw from the Saw series, and John Wayne Gacy and his weird clown shit, and Ted Bundy, which we should not be idolizing these characters by
No.
all means. We do not idolize serial killers on this channel, but
No.
to take homage and to kind of make them characters of your own.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm getting to, but it's exactly what you say, where they're living in this gated community, for
It's
lack
like
of
a
a better word.
support group retirement home. And I just have to say, like, there's this moment where they're all sitting down and they're like talking about things, and there's this woman called the professor.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like this granny. Well, anyways, she's like, what does she say to one of the characters? She's like chastising one of them, and she was like saying something about like, oh, like you're doing your little like puzzle box things, but they're really just dick traps. You're dick traps. And like, y'all put the two words together, dick trap, in a comic book.
It's funny. And I think that's so. I Hate This Place was really a lot of horror. There were some comedic elements, but I think the reason why I loved Assassination the way I did is because of the comedy. Because I think that Kyle Starks is genuinely one of the funniest writers in comics. His jokes just land and they're so simple and so stupid. It's like it's like 5th grade fart jokes, but for a 30 to 40-year-old. Like, I can't explain it. That's just what his style of writing is. Yeah. And so I like that Where Monsters Lie is a blend between like the horror and grittiness of I Hate This Place, but with that dumb slapstick but kind of serious humor of Assassination.
Yes, 100%. And I feel sad that I haven't seen more talked about this book, because seriously, if you liked Ice Cream Man and you like, because Ice Cream Man has a certain humor element to it, but it's like that humor that's like, I am laughing into the void.
It's great. It's going to become the sleeper hit, I think, of this year.
It is. So, you know, we predict a lot of stuff here. We really try to tell you the good books that are coming out. Like this one, I needed an indie number one to hit for me, and this one was it.
It did a very good job, and I've been very excited for this one ever since its announcement, because again, I love Kyle Starks. We'll read anything he writes. But just the premise alone of it being like, what do the serial killers do when they're not killing? Essentially, like, what is their day-to-day life like? It's really great.
It is. Please, y'all, go check it out. One book I want to talk about really quick, because I forgot to when we were talking about Marvel, and I know we're just kind of like raw dogging it out here. But another book that came out that Marvel did that I absolutely loved was Silver Surfer Ghostlight. It's written by John Jennings and the artwork by Valentine Delandro, who did the artwork for Bitch Planet.
Mm-hmm.
This book was so good. It, like, Silver Surfer's kind of on a back burner, shows up a little bit later in the game. But I loved this book so much. Anyways, I just wanted to say, that's, I guess, all I wanted to say.
Sleeper hit Marvel. Read it.
Sleeper hit for Marvel. Like, this one was really, really good. I feel like it's building up to something really, really fun. In the same way that I really liked the Thing book from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Silver Surfer Ghostlight, I think, is going to be like that type of book. Anyways,
like weird niche Marvel book
that's like its own self-contained thing. It's like a murder mystery with Silver Surfer. Yeah, it's good. Please, y'all, go read Silver Surfer Ghostlight. Pick this one up. Okay,
here's a book that we've talked about a couple times on this channel, and I almost dropped it. And I was looking at what was available to me in the 2 months since I've read comics. I'm like, I'm curious. I would like to read this book. I want to see what happens. I want to see where it goes. And that is Behold Behemoth #3 from Boom Studios, by Tate Bromball,
and Nick Robles.
But essentially what this book is like, this guy finds this girl who has the power of like monsters and has to fight off other monsters, and then they get transported to like this magical fantasy / apocalypse place. It has my favorite trope in fucking media, found fathers and their surrogate daughters. The first issue was probably one of the best first issues I read in all of 2022. That second issue, you and I both agreed, we were a little fucking confused. We didn't know what was going on.
So
I didn't think I liked it. Issue 3, I'm back. I'm back. I'm fucking all in, baby. I'm fucking back 100%. So in issue 3, we get a little bit more of the backstory. It's revealed that this isn't the first time that we've seen, this entity go into a human in which they're in control and have to fight off the other demons. But it is the first time that we've seen it go into a child. So we get a lot more conflict in terms of the control that the child has, because clearly a child doesn't really have the self-control that maybe an adult would. And so we understand finally in issue 3 that that's where the majority of our conflict is coming from, not necessarily from this war that's been waging for 1,000 years, but because the conflict of the child, and it's going to solidify the fact that the father-daughter surrogate trope is going to continue and is going to fucking kill me, and somebody's going to die, and I'm going to die myself, and it'll be fine.
Would you say that if you liked The Last of Us, that you should...
Why are we talking about... Don't do this to me. Because I specifically, when we were talking about news, specifically did not mention The Last of Us.
I was wondering why we didn't talk about The Last of Us.
Because if we talk about The Last of Us, Jennifer, I will be here for a minimum of 4 fucking hours talking about The Last of Us.
Okay, but then
I'm going to say about The Last of Us right now is that, close your ears, Niall. I want to fucking ride Pedro Pascal like a bicycle.
Why would
you? I'm fucking saying.
Establish your dominance, man, and be like, yeah, I'd climb to the top of that mountain, never come down.
There's a fan edit going around right now of Pedro Pascal, and I will send it to you after the show ends. Anybody else who wants to see it, DM me, and I will send it to you as well. There's a fan edit TikTok thing going around of Pedro Pascal that I have watched an ungodly amount of times to the point that it is illegal. And I found out this morning that Pedro Pascal has seen the Feral fan edit. So
what is it the one where he's like, I'm your daddy?
No.
Is that him?
It's the one where he's talking about you can scream my name or whatever. And I'm like, what's good in the hood, buddy? Listen.
It just like awakened something in me.
I think it's been established on this channel.
I don't need coffee.
I think it's been established a couple times on this channel that like Henry Cavill is like my number one end all be all. If the man showed up on my doorstep, like I'm gone, you'll never hear from me again. Henry Cavill?
I mean, I get like I've also seen The Witcher, but like
I have a life-size standee of Henry Cavill in my closet that I stole from a Walmart when I was like 23. It's fine. I don't want to talk about it. That being said, Henry Cavill, I think, is now out the door, and Pedro Pascal is now in the door. He is the door. I could talk about my love for Pedro Pascal for maybe 2 hours.
I do appreciate Pedro Pascal, but clearly not that much. I'm shocked at the Henry Cavill. Like that shocks me.
How? It's me.
Like as much as I appreciate like nerdy buffed up white boy, he's still just a nerdy buffed up white boy.
Nerdy buffed up boy who shares the same interests that I do. We have the same favorite video game, so that was kind of where my obsession stemmed. It's fine.
I don't know. You know me. I'm more of a Steve Buscemi type girl. Unless, hold on. Peter Steele is, he wasn't necessarily nerdy, but he's the like metal buffed up white boy. Rest in penis, my good dude, Peter Steele.
How did we even get? Oh, we got onto this because we were saying, yes, I agree. If you enjoyed The Last of Us, if you are enjoying The Last of Us, Behold Behemoth has that same kind of vibe to it. And I could actually see Pedro Pascal playing the main character. So Pedro Pascal has a fucking resume of playing the father that likes to adopt random fucking children. Yeah. Add this one to the list, my boy.
That's fair.
What other books did we read that we liked? You know what? There's another one from Boom I'll talk about.
Which one was that one?
Oh, we actually didn't get a chance to talk about it because that was the week that I did a show with our friend Josue, in which I was very violent about the first issue. But I kind of sucked up my pride and I was like, let me read the second and third issue because I really liked how issue 1 was leading. And that is Specs by David Booher.
I didn't read that one, so you're going to
I
have to tell me all about it.
I'm starting to really like Specs. I still have some issues.
That's good news.
I still have some issues with it. I think that there is some racial stuff that David Booher has this white savior complex that's being kind of thread into the main character that I'm not 100% on board with, nor will I ever be on board with. Like I feel like the character role should have been reversed. I feel like our main character should have been, you know, the black boy, and then the side character who ends up going to prison and is chased out of town should have been the white boy. It just feels better in my eyes. There was something very fucking wrong when I was reading it. That being said, I really like the idea of this pair of magical glasses that will grant any wish that you want. But you have to be very specific on the wish. It's kind of like an 8 billion genie sort of thing.
Ooh.
But with a more horror aspect to it, because especially with Issue, I believe I read 2 and 3 together, so I couldn't tell you which one it happened in. But we get to see more of a backstory with the Specs. We get to learn that there's been multiple people that have had the Specs, and that all of the people that have had these magical glasses that grant your wish all fall the same fate. And it's kind of that race against the clock sort of feeling that we get with really good horror, at least to me. So I really like it. I'm going to continue to read it. I'm still mad at him about Rain, but he's slowly making up for it with Specs.
Yeah.
But also not really.
It's funny because like there was someone that I was talking to where I'm like, I want to recommend Rain, but I don't. Like I will
never recommend Rain.
I love Zoe Thorogood's artwork. I do really love David Booher as a writer, but I'm just like I don't know. The only people, this is going to sound really, really mean, and I hope this doesn't come across as like bitchy, but the only people that I know who like that book are straight people.
No, I agree 100%. And here's my last.
I love y'all allies, but like,
here's my final comment on Rain. For David Booher, go read Canto. For Zoe Thorogood, go read It Gets Lonely at the Center of the Earth. Simple.
I know we didn't talk about like this, but It's Lonely at the Center of the Earth, along with Bolero, were like my 2 favorite books of this last year.
Let's talk about it, because we haven't talked about it since hiatus. That was one of the few books that I actually read while on hiatus. So let's talk about It Gets Lonely at the Center of the Earth, which is kind of an autobiographical. It's an original graphic novel that is semi-autobiographical by Zoe Thorogood, and was published by Image Comics. Let's talk about it. Let's dissect it.
It was beautiful and heartbreaking, and like you said, it's like semi-autobiographical. And the reason why I say semi is because it like changes.
It gets weird.
It gets weird, and like it literally like has redefined what an autobiographical book can do. I have never seen an autobiographical book tell a story in the way that it has done. And we talk a lot about like you know, the there's a term for it and it's slipping me, the unreliable narrator. Yes. That's almost what it feels like in this, because Zoe Thorogood's artwork changes. The way that she does the artwork, the way that she draws the characters, the way that she draws the scenery changes from page to page. But like it deals with trauma, and it deals with,
and it's very relatable.
It's so relatable, but it's so funny because like she mentions in the book like how hearing her that her artwork is relatable is like she hears it a lot, but it's so true. It's relatable. And there's moments where she like is talking about like kind of like dating, but then like I don't know, going through
at different spots in different ways. And everybody's saying this, and usually when everybody says it, it gets really fucking annoying, but it's the truth. And this is the one case where it's not annoying, and I guess in a lack of a better word, overrated. Zoe Thorogood is the next big name in comics. And she makes that joke in the books that she's
does.
tired of hearing people say it. And she makes that joke all the time on Twitter. And it's like, it's sad because I know she's joking, but I think part of her does not realize her fucking self-worth. And that's a lot of the theme of this book is your self-worth and the impact that your work can have on the future and your past and everything like that.
I can't wait for Zoe Thorogood to do like a Marvel book or a DC book.
Here's the thing. I don't think I want to see her on either of those because I think that's where she's going to struggle. We've already seen Zoe Thorogood on a DC story. She did a little one shot in the Queer Pride special with Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn, which was very, very gorgeous, very sexy. I loved it. But Zoe's going to thrive, I think, in books that she can do herself without a writer attached. I mean, maybe with a writer attached, but I think a book that she can do herself because she is at her whole a fucking cartoonist. And the reason why Zoe Thorogood is the next big name in comics isn't, now let me finish the statement when I say this. The reason why she's the next big name in comics is not necessarily the style of her art, because her style is very simple but very engaging. It's the way she fucking adapts her story in her head to the fucking page and how dynamic it is and how creative it is. Because in her biographical book, Lonely at the Center of the Earth, she does shit that I've never thought were possible to happen in comics, but it's very obvious storytelling that we've seen in other forms of media, movies, TV, games. But it's hard to adapt something like that to paper, which is a 2D, it's a two-dimensional space. You can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't vision it, hear it, smell it, but yet it works. And my favorite part of that book, it's actually in the first like 3 pages, where she's essentially setting up like an Office or Parks and Rec style mockumentary where she's recording herself. And she starts talking and she's telling a story and she's like, no. She's like, this isn't working right. I can't do this. And it's literally her character picking up the set, erasing the set, moving the set, and restructuring it. It's like, okay, this is how we tell the story. And I
like breaking the fourth wall in your own
wall
book
with her reader. I mean, she's breaking the fourth wall as an autobiography, which is, it's one thing to do it with a piece of like just genuine fiction that you've crafted and created, but to do it as yourself talking to the reader, it literally, I read it on my tablet, and I think that's where I fucked up. I don't think this book comes across as strongly if you read it digitally. I definitely recommend picking a physical copy up. But I set it down and I just fucking stared at the page, and I'm like, what happened? Like, I'm like, did that really just happen? Like, is this something entirely new in comics that we've never seen before? It's like she created a new genre. She created a new plot point or story beat that I think that creators who have read it are going to look at that and be like, I can use that for other shit. And I hope that it becomes like the Zoe Thorogood effect. That's what happened.
I agree.
So Zoe is, I'm really excited to see what comes out from her. She has a new book that's coming out late 2023. I can't fucking remember what it's called. It's posted on my Twitter page, but
we will be talking about it.
We'll be talking about it. And that's just one of those creators. Follow her on Twitter. Keep up with what she's doing, because I think she's going to change the name of the game.
What 100%.
She's fucking younger than me, and that's like one of the things that I fucking hate is when I see like little babies doing their life better than I am. I get like my little midlife crisis, but I'm like, you're younger than me, and you're fucking smarter than me. Like you're doing what I should have done, and it's I like feel like a little proud mama though.
Yeah,
like I feel like a little proud like big sister. Like we've never met. This is a weird parasocial relationship that I have now created, and I'm sorry, but it's like, I'm proud that, you know, because the whole book is her coming off as a sense of failure and a race against the clock, but yet you're this age and you've already fucking broke the wall. You've broke the fucking industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. It's amazing.
And as much as I love the industry, I'm like, break it, smash it. I'm burn the entire fucking industry down, and I'll be there with you throwing bricks, girly, but we're going to rebuild it.
Yeah. It was great. Read the book.
Were there any other that was the violence portion. That was a lot of violence that we just got in there.
Any quick ones that we can kind of just go through? Is that what you're looking for?
Maybe.
All right, I got you. New Champion is Shazam. It finished issue 4.
Oh, I didn't. That's one I didn't keep
This
up
book
with.
is fucking delightful. I really liked it. I'm mad that it's not more than 4 issues, but this is like the perfect book to give to anybody. It was so fun. It was so colorful. I could give it to like you, who's 30 something. I could
30
give it to,
something. Thank you. I mean? Thank you. 30 something.
I could give it to you, who's 30 something. I could give it to John, who I know is more than 30. I won't disclose John's age, but I could give it to John. I could give it to John's kids.
30 something.
But I could give it to John's kids who are teenage babies. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those books that caters to a wider audience, and it's fun and it's all ages, and I really liked it. It was a lot of
fun. I read the first issue, but it's not one of those like titles where I'm like, I need to pick this up each week. And anyways, so I didn't pick that one up. But it feels like almost, I don't know, a companion piece to Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
Yes,
is that accurate?
No. Yes, but no, because it's more PG. It's more about just like a fun, all ages story. But it was fun, and I really liked it. There's another DC book that came out.
Sorry, there's someone who in the chat. Sorry, Jukebox. I have it, but I haven't read it.
I read the first issue. I wanted more from it. I was really excited for this book because it's my favorite things, apocalypse and romances, and I wanted more romance. Maybe issue 2 and 3 gave that, so I'll pick up on that. That was on my list of things to read today, and I dropped the ball. I'm sorry. Nightwing 100 dropped.
I didn't read that one either.
I can touch on it real quick. It's just fucking insane that we're up to 100 issues of Nightwing. Again, Tom Taylor, Bruno Redondo. Yeah. Killing the fucking game. And it was just it was a celebration of Nightwing and what his character means. We got some really great intimate moments with him and Batman. Dick Grayson finally calling him dad, which has been long needed in fucking comics. It made me cry on my couch at 9 a.m. this morning. Thank you, Tom Taylor. But also Tom Taylor announced recently, and I manifested this, y'all. Tom Taylor announced that he is writing fucking Titans. And I'm so fucking excited because we have not gotten a good Titans book in maybe ever.
And he, like, when I think about Seven Secrets, like, and I think about that, like, team dynamic.
I mean, remember, this is the man that built his fucking foundation in comics on the Injustice Gods Among Us books, which were a tie-in to a video game in which he was juggling dozens of characters, and yet he managed to make everyone have its own impact. So him being put onto a team book, or him deciding he's on a team book, whatever he wants to do, I'm ridiculously excited for that book. Like, make DC Comics fun again.
Yeah, and I think he's going to do it.
Wonder Woman Historia number 3 finally dropped.
I don't have it right here, but so Nicola Scott. So the first issue that came out, Jimenez did the artwork on it.
Bill Jimenez.
And then the second one, Cliff Chang did the artwork on it.
Gene Ha.
No, Gene Ha. So sorry, Gene Ha did the artwork on it. And then the third issue, Nicola Scott did the artwork on it. And boy, howdy, y'all! Like, it finished with a bang.
Fucking issues of this shit. So I reread issues 1 and 2 right before issue 3, and I knew I loved the book, but I forgot how much I loved the book.
Yeah,
it is so intense and powerful and
emotional.
When I say that this is the Wonder Woman book I've been waiting for, this is the book that I've been waiting for. This is what I want, that true Amazon Paradise Kiss.
Paradise Lost.
Paradise Island. Paradise Lost.
Dick Fight Island. Amazon. Dick Fight Island.
This is what I want that show to be. Is I want it to be the historical culture, the impact, the conflict, the politics, the feminism, if you will. It was just
feminist agenda.
Well, I always say jokingly that, like, you know, Nightwing by Tom Taylor and Superman Son of Kal-El by Tom Taylor, these are the best things DC has published in years. And I say yes to a degree for different reasons, because they're fun and they're lighthearted and they truly capture what it means to be a superhero. But Wonder Woman Historia is like the best fucking thing that DC Comics has ever published. And it's the fact that we had to wait 5 years for it. We weren't even doing the show when this book was announced, okay? So that's a long time. And we weren't even friends yet.
Well,
I remember I was working a retail job in my car at lunch when the announcement popped up, and I was so excited.
Oh my gosh.
5 years I've been waiting, and it was worth it.
In the same way, in a similar but different way, Wonder Woman Historia also like changed the narrative for like how comic books could be written. And even though I don't want to say I necessarily disagree with like 3 different artists doing the work on it, I do wish that was consistent. Like I do wish that Phil Jimenez or Nicola Scott had done the artwork for the entire thing.
But I agree with that, but I also like the changing styles because I feel like it kind of matched the tone. Like I was kind of off put when they were like, yeah, every artist is going to be a different person. But I think that Phil Jimenez really captured, setting up the Amazon, setting up the history of women in this era. And then Jean Ha setting up the eventual rebellion and potential failure. And then Nicola Scott kind of rounding it off, because when I think Wonder Woman, I think Nicola Scott.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think it's because when I think Wonder Woman, I think Gail Simone. So when I think Gail Simone, I think Nicola Scott.
Yeah.
And it kind of just rounded out the whole finale of the Amazons. And it felt like a send-off. And I feel like what better way to send it off than with somebody like Nicola Scott. And I really enjoyed it. It was just a lot of fun.
So good.
I need more.
Yeah, I agree. I need like the backstory. I need the future. I need all of it.
I need more. I just need them to write Wonder Woman comics. It's fine.
Yeah.
I have 2.5 books left, 3 books left.
Oh, geez. I feel like, I mean, I have like other books, but none that are like right here. What are some of yours? Maybe I wrote those.
Black Cloak by Kelly Thompson.
I tried.
So I'm going to get a little violent. I was really excited for this book because it's Kelly Thompson. Kelly Thompson is probably one of my favorite Marvel writers. She did books like Hawkeye, West Coast Avengers, Black Widow. She's just a really solid writer. And I love, like, she's like, when people jokingly say, what's the one Marvel writer you want to come over to DC? I always say Kelly Thompson.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
When it was announced that Kelly Thompson was finally doing like an indie book, a creator-owned book, I was really excited. And I hyped this book up. And this book was a fucking mess. So this book is like this weird fantasy-esque world, but it's also kind of like ground in realism because you have cops and you have like detectives and crime, and it's a murder mystery whodunit, which I feel like there are way too many murder mystery whodunits in comics right now. Like there's just too many. I'm bored. And this world is so ripe to be rich and charismatic and like just to be wholly unique, especially in its character designs. And the artwork is stunning. I love how playful and like silly the artwork is.
Because you get to see the like emotions from the characters, and yeah.
And I really like it. It's just like cartoony, kind of reminds me of Stevenson, who did Nimona. Kind of reminds me of that style of fantasy, for lack of a better word. But it was too messy. Too many characters were introduced. There was like 4 different backstories for one character, and then more characters from this person's past that kept coming in, and too many of the characters looked way too much alike.
Yes.
For a fantasy book, like, can I have one person with blue hair? Like, differentiate things for me. One character with green hair, one character with pink hair. Like, help me. Help me help you to connect with this fucking story. And it was just... But there was something about it that I liked. I liked some of the characters. I liked some of the subtle interactions. I liked
the fantasy interaction. Like, I like the fantasy world that's set up, but it didn't land for me.
It was too messy. It was too much. It was too misguided.
This is also a thick book. Like, this for $5, like you get $5 worth of book.
But you paid $5 how many times?
3. I got 3 fucking covers because that always happens. Because I got the Peach Momoko cover, is that Chris Ward? And I forget the other one. But I got 3 different covers, and I'm like, I always do that. I buy variant covers, and the books end up not landing.
It's just sad.
Chris Ward, Peach Momoko, and is it Tula Lotte?
Our friends over at Jukebox Vertigo are very upset with us, and that's fine.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's fine. So I was very disappointed by this book. It was like the one book this week, aside from the one that I'm getting ready to talk about. It was like the one book where I felt like I was really disappointed, which is good in perspective because it feels like, especially recently on the show, a lot of the books that we were reading, I think because we were reading so many, I was getting disappointed by the majority of them. Yeah. So to have one loss in a sea of many.
There were a lot, like seriously, all the books that I read this week for the most part were really good books. That was a couple weeks ago, but that one was not one of them.
So I have one more book that I'm going to get very violent on. And then another book that I want to do is like a world premiere. Please pre-order. So Are there any books that you want to talk about before we get into the thick of it? Oh,
I know you don't like it. I know you don't like it. I know you don't like it, but I love it. It's like literally, this is the thing. This is the thing. This is Jeremy Hahn's love letter to John Carpenter's The Thing.
I love The Thing.
You should be reading this.
I didn't. I didn't like it.
You need to read it again.
You need to read more of it.
Harder. I'm just kidding. I get it. I think this book is fun. I really like it. If you like horror stuff, if you like The Thing, if you don't like The Thing, I think you'd like this thing. Approach it. You've got to approach it.
Puns don't work here. Try again.
Sorry. I like it. Okay, what else you got for me?
All right. So there was an anthology book that came out this week, and
I read it.
I read the anthology book for one story and one story only. That being said, when I was flipping through it, there's a very cute Harley Quinn and Ivy story in the beginning that has very cute art, so I might go back and read that. But I was on a fucking mission, okay? Fucking Tuesday morning, I'm seeing discourse on my Twitter feed, so I'm like, where the fuck is this discourse coming from, and why is it being targeted to me? And it's because in the Harley Quinn Valentine's Day anthology, and it's not even Harley Quinn, they're just marketing as that, but it's a bunch of different characters like Constantine and Aquaman and Fire and Ice, Apollo and Midnighter have a story, but I've already spoiled the one that obviously I read it for. A fucking Fire and Ice story. And
who's Fire and Ice?
If you're fucking new to the channel, you know that I am actually, I have them right here. Give me a second. I was saving these for later, but if you fucking know me, I am the number one fucking Fire and Ice fan on the internet, in the world, in history, because they're gay. That's not why I like them, but it's a reason. But they're just gals being gay.
History will call them really good friends.
Shut the hell up, because that's exactly what happened.
That's what Tom King said. Tom King was like, oh, they're roommates.
I won't talk about it. Anyway, so in this little anthology story, the whole fucking premise, and I'm sorry for anybody wearing earbuds right now, the whole fucking premise is we need to find Fire a fucking date. And it's literally hammering that this fucking girl is straight. But we all know she's not fucking straight. And I've got reasons to prove it that we're in the anthology. So they're hammering home that fucking Fire's straight, right? They have her on all these fucking dating apps. By the way, they're having her date these fucking nobody douchebags, which I'm like, if Fire's gonna date anybody, she's gonna date like a fucking A-lister that can throw her over his shoulder and just fucking love her till nothing else. Okay, she's not gonna fucking date these weirdos.
Is that the sorry? Like, is that Green Lantern? Is she gonna date Green Lantern?
No, that's Ice.
That's Ice. Sorry, I got him confused.
So she ends up dating this other fucking dude called Spider, which. What the fuck? What kind of name is Spider?
You know, hear me out. Spider's trans dude.
No, because it's revealed. Hold on, let me finish the plot of the book. So she goes on this date with Spider, but the whole time Ice is like backing her up on finding these dates and is like helping her try to find the perfect man and is even watching her on this date. That's a little gay to me, if you ask me. I've never had okay, I have had my best friend watch me on a date, but that was for protective service reasons, not for gay reasons. And we'll kind of delve more into that because I have theories and stuff. So fucking Ice is watching her on this date. Fire's on this date with this spider dude. The whole time she's on a date with this spider dude, she's talking about Ice and how I don't think that I can like bring you home unless Ice approves. We couldn't date unless my girl Ice approves. And the guy even makes a comment of, it's kind of weird that you're on a date with me, but you keep talking about Ice. And he doesn't do it to be mean. He states it, you know, you're on a date with me, but you keep talking about this Ice chick. I'm like, that's really fucking gay. That's fucking gay. Because I'm sorry, if I'm on a date, it's literally that trope of, I'm on a date with person A, but I'm talking about person B, and person A is like, you know what? I think you and person B just need to be together. And that's that whole McCute, except this is the gay McCute. But yeah, we don't get that because it's revealed in the story that Spider is a fake superhero that is just trying to get into the Justice League to sell the secrets to third-party villains. So he's not even a real superhero. So then Fire and Ice kick his ass. I'm like, all right, gays being gays. I love this. The fucking story ends with Fire getting a package in the mail from Ice with their picture and everything. And I don't even remember what the package was, but it says, Happy Galentine's Day.
That sounds...
And it ends with Ice making a comment of, Ice is the person in my life that I love the most.
See, that sounds so gay to me.
It's gay, but they fucking friend zone them. And it
History is calling them really good friends.
And it's really, like, I'm going to be honest. I told you backstage, and this is going to sound really silly to people that aren't as passionate about comics as I am. I'm saying this genuinely with my whole chest. I'm not saying this to be dramatic. I'm not saying this to be dramatic, to get views, to get clicks, whatever. I sat on my couch and I cried for a solid 5 minutes this morning because I'm so frustrated with these two characters who are clearly queer. History has said that they are queer in the subtext. Creators have said that they are queer in theory, but they can't get past DC editorial. And when you think about the relationship between Fire and Ice and these two female characters that love each other more than life itself, would kill for one another, would be there for one another through thick and thin. I mean, hell, one of them dies and the other one is like, I'm literally going to go on a murdering spree, even though I'm a hero, because somebody killed you. Like, that's the kind of love that I want. But hear me out.
That sounds like some Destiny and Mystique shit, and I love it.
When you describe the motives and the relationship between these two characters, there are two characters that stick out. Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. Yeah. They have the same fucking relationship as Harley and Ivy. But for some reason, those characters can be together, but Fire and Ice, who arguably have more chemistry, they're not allowed to be together. And it's upsetting and it's frustrating. And I would just like a reason. I'm never going to get it because I'm obviously too insignificant. And that sounds like really like
you're manifesting other stuff.
But it sounds really like incel of me to be like, DC Comics, give me a fucking reason why these characters can't be together. It sounds stupid. I know I sound stupid. But you've been doing this bait and switch for 40 years now. That's a long time. You've been doing this bait and switch for 40 years now, and we always come so fucking close, and then we don't get it. And as a queer woman who just wants to see other queer women be happy with one another that aren't Harley and Ivy, because confession time, I really don't like either of those characters.
I don't.
For no reason. I just don't care for them, but I want to see characters that I like and that I attach to be happy with one another.
I think eventually you'll get it. I think eventually you will.
I think I'm going to keep getting friend zoned, and it's going to fucking suck. So that was the book that I read this week that I hated the most. I've known about this since Tuesday. I didn't read it until this morning because I was dreading it. And it just sucks because, like, they never do anything with Fire and Ice, and it felt like 2022 and 2023 is the year of Fire and Ice. I've been on this channel an awfully lot talking about Fire and fucking Ice. So somebody at editorial in DC is watching and wants to see me suffer.
Oh.
And I'm tired. Stop. Let the gays be happy. Where's my sign? Where's my
let us be happy and
make it gay, you cowards.
Let us be gay and be happy and do crimes.
That's all I ask for.
What was the book? There was another book that you read, though.
There was another book. So this is a new book that has not released yet.
And it's on final order cutoff this week, y'all. So
no, I don't think it's till March.
Oh, it's almost on final. You can still pre-order it now.
You can still pre-order it. You have a couple weeks to pre-order it. But my pals over at Mad Cave sent me a really great press package for a new book called Don't Spit in the Wind. It's a really fun post-apocalypse story that is akin to fucking WALL-E. It's WALL-E, but good. So essentially,
it was cute.
WALL-E was underwhelming. I wanted to love WALL-E so much.
WALL-E was cute. WALL-E, it's cute.
I wanted to love WALL-E so much.
Cute.
So Don't Spit in the Wind is like a post-apocalyptic story where Earth is basically uninhabitable and the majority of the population has been sent off to other planets while they work to clean up the Earth. And it's just a really cool, like, I really like the style of this book. I like the characters.
I want to see that cover. Like,
the artwork is really, really great. So it is being done by Stefano Cardicelli and Dan Lee. And the artwork is just, it's phenomenal. It's so cool and so stylistic. And Mad Cave has sent me a couple of, several press packets for their new releases over the years, which I'm incredibly thankful for. I love you guys for that. And they always include like fun shit, like stickers and like little things.
Bookmarks.
Little bookmarks. Yes, we established this morning, I have a million bookmarks from Mad Cave and Maverick. But for Don't Spit in the Wind, they sent me a packet of coffee because coffee is a really big thing in the universe. And I think that's so cool. It's fucking comic book coffee.
And it's done by Comics on Coffee, which they're actually based in Fort Myers, where I'm from Fort Myers. And they're doing some like Batman stuff, even though it's like they're doing some like Batman coffee, and they've got some other coffees that I actually really like. They had an amaretto coffee that I was like, this is top notch. I love it.
Listen, a bitch only has a Keurig, so now I got to get those fillable Keurig coffee pods just so I can try this coffee. But at the same time, I don't want to open it because this is just, it's coffee. It's so fucking cool.
I also want to say, I know I'm like shouting another channel out, but Bueller, Comics with Bueller is like sponsored by them. And if you go to the Comics on Coffee website, and I think you can use like code like Bueller or something, and like you get 15% off, 15% off coffee. So you should go use
that's awesome.
His discount code and get
Hear me
some
out.
coffee.
Comics and Coffee sponsor us.
Yeah.
Give us a fun little discount code because I drink a shit ton of coffee and I love comics. So I feel like I'm the brand spokesperson that you need.
Yeah, we are your target audience.
We're your target audience. I'll do it for free, whatever. But yeah, so that's Don't Spit in the Wind. FOC for that is coming up in March. Tell your local comic shop that you want it. Mad Cave Studio has been one of my favorite publishers, not only because they were the first publisher to really like take a chance on us and like support us and be like, hey, we want to send you guys like copies and like actual legitimate shit. And I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know who you are, but sure. But it's been fun to kind of like see them grow from like books like Stargazer and Dryfoot and Terminal Punks and what's that one book that we really like? The D&D, the Die, but for children. I was gonna say Quest Aside. But that's Volt. It's on top of my tongue. I can see it on the shelf, but it's too small.
The Last Session.
Thank you.
You're
welcome. Like, it's been really fun to just see their line and the stuff they've been publishing sort of evolve and grow, and to see them get more eyes on their content. So anytime they send me something and I genuinely like it, I'm gonna talk about it.
Tiger's Tongue
was really good. Dahlia After Dark, Nature's Labyrinth, which is still my favorite Mad Cave title right now. Even though I'm behind.
Yeah, I'm behind too. Sorry.
I'm behind, but Nature's Labyrinth is so good. Send me Nature's Labyrinth coffee. Send me everything. This is just I literally, this is so cool. I love this. But that's everything that I have in terms of books I've been reading. I'm hoping that next week maybe we'll be back to our regularly scheduled. We've read every single book this week, but at the same time, I don't know. There was something nice about picking and choosing the books that I genuinely wanted to read versus this is everything that comes out this week. And even though it definitely does not sound like a book I would read and a book I'm definitely going to hate, I'm going to read it anyway and say, it was all right.
Yeah, I definitely, because like last year when I started, like in January, I'm like, it's 2020 to be read. Like, that's my year. I'm going to get through this like to be read pile. I'm going to read 1,000 graphic novels plus all the single issues. And this year, granted, like I'm going through a lot personally. So it's like, that's obviously not on my radar, but I'm like, I'm reading more than ever before, which is insane to me because I read a lot. And now I'm just like, yeah, I'm reading even more. But I'm reading like books.
Ew.
Not just comic books. I'm reading right now, I'm reading a biography about the guy who started Creepy Comics. So, you know.
I only read books with pictures.
Well, if that's all you have, then that's definitely all that I have. Like you said, next week we should be back. Hopefully there's some new stuff. Maybe we'll talk more about shows. Maybe I will be emotionally prepared to talk about the latest issue or latest episode of The Last of Us, because issue 3 killed me. No. Okay.
I literally, I'm still crying about it. Like for the first 3 days, it was just, I would walk into the kitchen, I would see my partner standing in the kitchen, and I would start to cry.
Yeah. I cried for the opposite reason because I walked into my kitchen and I'm like, fuck, I'm lonely. I will never have what they have. So I cried.
You never say never, because I definitely said that. And look what happened to me.
That sounded like a threat. So anyways, let's see what this next episode does. And we've also got let me think, Quantumania coming up. There is and Fan Expo Portland is coming up. So I thanks to Bueller, I actually have a press pass to go to it. And thanks to my friend Joel the Geek, hopefully we'll be on a panel as well. So I'm really excited about that, and maybe interviewing some creators. So hopefully, like I said, I'll be reading even more. I've been painting again, which is really cool. Kind of needed that catharticism.
But 2023, we're hoping to have a bigger, better show. I mean, we've always had a bigger, better show, but we're always trying to do more, which is kind of bad because then we get burnt out. But
yeah,
we're trying to do more creator interviews, which I think will be really fun. It's something we've always talked about. We've had friends like David F. Walker on the show, but like we want to have more people on the show. So any creator friends who are watching that possibly want to talk comics with us and promote your stuff, DM us and we'll definitely figure that out. We want to definitely help restructure the Patreon and the shop. We've talked about doing a special podcast, which is like Casually Comics After Dark, where we can really, really go just ape shit.
Is this going to be like us getting drunk?
We could do that. That might be dangerous, but we could definitely do that. We could figure out some stuff. But yeah, it's great to be back after being away for a long time. And you. Thank you to everybody that supported us and came back, and I miss you too. But thank you to everybody that came back, and because you didn't have to come back, but you came back and you supported us and you showed up and you messaged us throughout the hiatus, just making sure that we were breathing and alive, and just thank you.
Negative. I am a meat popsicle.
Thanks for 2022 and can't wait for 2023.
I love y'all. Thank you so much. We'll see you next Sunday.
Bye.
Bye.